Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my Blacadian universe. I'm going to get right into it. It's been a heavy few weeks with all of the stuff that's going on in the world lately. That is saying quite a lot. I'm, of course, talking about the murder of Cyrus Carmack Belton, as well as the blatant anti-Blackness that's being displayed by some people in East Asia buying and being disgustingly cruel to these Black baby dolls. And, just with the mindset and the cruelty being shown to the disregard to the loss of a child and just the general anti-Blackness that seems to be in an upswing lately. I wanted to spend some time to talk about it. So let's talk about it. So anti-Blackness is nothing new. I can tell you that as someone who's been Black all my life, living through the Blackness, thriving and loving it. Um, you know, I want to start off by saying, as heavy as it is, as knowing that, so many people have such jealousy and hatred in their hearts for my mere existence, and still knowing that I would choose to be Black in this lifetime and every lifetime tells you everything you need to know about Black people. Because all the Black people in my life would be like, even with Black in every lifetime, because yeah, it's pretty fabulous. It's pretty fabulous. So, as heavy as my heart is, I know I'd choose this always, always. But one of the interesting things about I find, and so I'll start off by, I think it was a story I've told in this podcast and something I think about all the time. Those of you that listen to the podcast know that I work with people. I do inclusion work, anti-racist work, and um, anti-oppression work. And when I was first starting out in this work, I remember, it's a quickly evolving space. Things change, the LGBTQ2S plus community. We're always trying to find ways to be more inclusive. The acronym keeps changing over the years, as it should. We're learning and growing and changing in the space. And same with the terminology that we use to describe people's ethnicities. It's always changing, and we always learn better ways to be more inclusive. And I remember having a conversation with um, a Black woman, and I've told this story before, and I think about it all the time. This was many years ago, early on in my career, and we were talking about people of color. And this was a Black Caribbean woman, and she was like, "Yeah, no, I'm Black." She's like, "Do not call me, uh, you know, a person of color. I'm not like, African American, like all these things. I'm Black." And she was adamant about it. And I remember being like, oh, she was an older woman. And I was like, is it because she's just, stuck in this phase of terminology that she's found comfortable, or she doesn't see the need to change, which I've known people that are part of the LGBTQ community and are like, okay, it's enough with the acronyms, already stop adding things, we get the point. People are just like comfortable at this stage and they don't see the need for it to change. They don't think the progress needs to be progress, like, I don't know, whatever. There's many different reasons why people don't see it that way, but she was saying, that basically she was saying they're not like us. She's like, they're not like this. This was before, you know, Kendrick Lamar's very apt banger, but she was like, I am not a person of color. I am Black. And it is times like this that I understand exactly what she meant by that statement. It is clear to me that I am not a person of color. I'm Black. Capital B, always capital B, Black. Because we're in a different class of um, existence. And so what happens with white supremacy is, and I will also, you know, provide another link to a past podcast that I did, but it's basically about white supremacy being quite the drug. Proximity to whiteness for people of color can turn some people to think that they will ever touch that power. So I'm a nerd, okay? And, you know, I love The Lord of the Rings, read the books multiple times. And so I will tell you that whiteness and belonging to the class of whiteness is like, you know, like the ring of power. It's like the one ring. If you're a person of color, it's not for you. You're not going to be able to wield that power. You're not going to be able to control that power. It's not meant for you. It has one master, and it is not a person of color. All right, let me explain that to someone who, if you have read the Lord of the Rings book, you're like nodding along. You're like, yeah, yep, I got it. But let me explain it for people that haven't read the Lord of the Rings books. If you haven't, read it. Read it. Am I going to get some Tolkien money promoting those books? But yeah, huge fan. So I will say that whiteness is an exclusive club. You know, no, like study your history. If you even had a drop of, you know, the one drop rule of blackness in you, you had to like declare it. People were passing all these things because whiteness had to be exclusive to have that privilege, to be a part of that club of whiteness, that machine of white supremacy. It's only for a select few. You have to check off many boxes to be a part of that club. Even the people like, you know, within that club, you know, they're going to find ways to exclude you, whether it's through, you know, patriarchy and, you know, women not being equal. They're going to find a way to exclude it to only the wealthiest, richest men that know other men that, you know, can help them become richer men. So the idea that some people think that they can control it is ludicrous. And so what happens to people of color is they think that once they get a little attention, a little popularity, a little money, a little bit of power, a little bit of privilege for feeding that beast, for saying that whiteness is truly great, by showing that they want to be white, they want to be a part of that whiteness, and especially if they punch down and start, you know, talking about how horrible blackness is because, you know, it is the 180 from whiteness. You know, they can get a little bump. They can get a little privilege from that. And it is addictive as hell. And they'll even convince themselves that they're part of that club, that they have that power, that they have that privilege once they get a little taste of it by putting down Black people. They'll think that they're part of the club. They're not part of the club. You're feeding the machine of white supremacy by showing that you believe that it's supreme. You're demonstrating to the world that you believe that they are the best, that they deserve that privilege, they deserve that power. That's all you're doing. They're using you as a tool to show that they truly deserve to have this privilege. And that is all you're doing. You are being used as an example of that. And so when a child is murdered, and the justice system that was built to serve white privilege, that was built to enslave people, which was built on that, is doing what it does, it's just a demonstration of white supremacy and that being upheld. Your life as a person of color isn't more valued if you were to stand up against that. We've seen it when, when white people stand up against that, stand up against white supremacy, they're killed just as quickly, easily, and without consequence, um, you know, um, as people of color. So you're just a tool. You're being used in the tool of white supremacy, and you do not own and never will own that power. Now, the second half of this conversation in the last few weeks has been about Black people supporting other Black people because, the old saying, we are all we've got. And it's so funny how showing love to one another, showing support for our community as Black people has quickly been twisted into people saying that it's about Asian hate. And I know when COVID hit and people were having horrific experiences, Asian people in, all over the world. I know that many Black people, including myself and many of my friends and family, were all about showing support and being against anti-Asian hate. And I'll say that showing love for Blackness and the Black community is not about hating other people. It's funny because that's the only way white supremacy works. White supremacy works by hating Black people. And so that's the only demonstration of power that people have seen is through this hatred. And that's not how Black people work. Black people have the greatest capacity for love that I have ever seen in my life. Let me say that again because it is so important. Black people that I have known in my life, the stories that I see in the news, the history that I've read, the way we continue to operate in a world that hates us. Black people have the greatest capacity for love that I have ever seen and experienced in my life. That's power. And so when we are selfish with it, people get scared, as they should be, because that is power. We have power. So I say this, let's be selfish with it. Let's be selfish with it. Let's be selfish with our light. Let's be selfish with our energy. Let's be selfish with our money and support each other. This isn't a ban. This isn't temporary. This is the way forward for the foreseeable future until people can get that there is nothing funny about displays of anti-Blackness. We all know that if someone was taking a white baby doll and throwing it around and destroying it and being just outwardly cruel to it, nobody would find it funny or acceptable. So until that changes, we keep our money, we keep our light, and we keep to supporting ourselves first until we and people that do not look like us understand what a huge deal that is. And there are collective voices saying that it is wrong, it is despicable, it is just gross, and it is racist until other people, loudly, the majority of people stand up and say those things out loud, until people are, without question, punished for taking the lives of our children due to racism and cruelty. Let's put our dollars into the people that love and respect us, because that seems to be the only thing that they don't find very funny, that seems to make people very, very angry, is when they don't have access to Black dollars. We are only valuable to them in the sense that we have money that they can't have access to. They can't colonize it fast enough. They can't take it fast enough from us. Give your money to Black people. And if you are an ally to Black people, as a person of color, as a white person, give your money to Black people as well. It's a powerful message, and one that resonates to people that only see our value in our checkbooks. Do not be a tool that upholds white supremacy. As always, thank you so much for listening, and support Black businesses.